Welcome back to another episode of Global Card Collectors. And today I'm with Asad, who is also known as Poke Collection. Just a little bit of an insight into him. He's been creating Pokemon content for 16 years. So obviously since 2009. And he's amassed 37,000, but just under 37,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So Asad, just tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, going good. Thanks, Will, for having me. First of all, no, I'm doing great. And about me, I guess you sort of summed it up pretty nicely there. Yeah, I've been content creating in the Poke Collection sort of Pokemon space for over 16 years, but been in social media far longer, and almost 2 decades
Wow.
since YouTube was even sort of a baby, really. Yeah, just been creating. It's, there's been ebbs and flows of creation as well, based on life priorities and all that stuff, and but it's always been something that I sort of go back to, and it's always quite a nice little escape to have from the day to day. So it's just I didn't really think I'd still be doing it to this day, so it's just really cool to be still doing it now.
Well, what actually got you started at the beginning? Can you remember all the way back to 2009? What
Yeah.
inspired you to get going?
Yeah, so nostalgia hit big time around about 2008. I remember that just because it was a year before I kicked off Poke Collection, and during that time I was in my first couple of years of university. I was DJing, music producing, so a lot of my work was really in the music space, and then also my studies. But I think I remember just walking into Kmart here in New Zealand, and
Hmm.
I just sort of saw these platinum theme decks, really old theme decks now, and I thought, wow, that's actually not actually seen Pokemon cards in, for forever, like for ages. Last time being when I was a kid in primary school. So essentially, that kind of just triggered like this whole nostalgic like wave, and I just had to get them, and then I just started, sort of going down into the sort of deep dive of like, oh my gosh, I actually miss watching the anime. I need to go watch all of them. So I started watching every single one up until that point. And I think at that point they were just up to Diamond and Pearl, so series, the fourth series, I think.
Hmm.
And Then I just started looking back at the theme decks that I grew up with, Fossil, Lockdown theme decks, and all that sort of stuff. And then it just sort of kept on going and going. And then it was kind of late. I think then I sort of started looking at the creators online, and I remember the early creators at the time, very few during that moment, was Primetime Pokemon and G Skills 818.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, I just got hooked at watching them unboxing. It was very early days YouTube where the quality was, astonishingly bad.
Yeah.
Less than 480p. I don't think it was even 320. It was just really, really poor quality on your
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
And I just got hooked. And then it kind of, I think there was a point where I was procrastinating from exams, and I was studying neuroscience. So
Mhm.
I procrastinated from exam period, and then thought I'm going to do the same thing. I just felt like doing it. I just At that point I had amassed quite a bit of a mini collection, which I referred to as the Poke Collection Shrine at the time. Poke Collection wasn't even a thing, so just a shrine. And I just kind of showcased it, and it just blew up. It was 3 videos. I wasn't really planning to do anything with it. YouTube wasn't in the monetization space. There was nothing known as partnership. And so it just kind of blew up, and I kind of just embraced it as I went. It wasn't really meant as a marketing strategy or anything like that. It was just pure enjoyment of opening cards and stuff, and met so many cool people throughout the process. But that's kind of how it sort of kicked off, the nostalgic sort of wave, and then I just sort of got stuck in, and it just sort of kept getting bigger and bigger every few months. So yeah, crazy to look back on that.
Wow. That's really that's really cool. Speaking from my own small experience, I've probably been doing this for about a year and a half now, and something resonated with me immediately when you just said you meet so many cool people, and I
Yeah,
think I really like the format that I have, not because it's great or anything, but because I can contact people and say, look, I'm doing an interview online, and I kind of get to know them as collectors and learn about
yeah,
their stories, and it's a really easy way to make fast friends in the card collecting community. So I really like
yeah,
this format too.
yeah, totally. I think it's one of those things where there's such a nice connection that you can make with so many people in hobbies
Agreed.
like this. And I didn't really go in with any kind of agenda knowing that I want to make friends or necessarily this or that. It wasn't very rigid. It was just like whatever happens, kind of just go with it. And just kind of, I'd never really had a plan. It was all very much just random and just whatever fit me. And it still is kind of that way. It's just I don't really like to necessarily follow trends or do anything. I just kind of do me, what works for me. And if I sort of lag behind in that regard, I'm okay with that because I'm not really looking for much more than other than really just community and catching up with people and doing my thing really.
Yeah, well, I guess that kind of leads into my next question, and I've noticed that your channel has evolved over time. You've got like interviews with great voice actors. You've got
Yeah,
some food videos in there. You've got some travel
yeah,
videos, and I guess that's
mhm,
the answer, right? It's that it's just about the things that you enjoy, and you just start putting
yeah.
them on your channel, right?
Yeah, and I think the word the name Poker Collection kind of I think there was a moment I thought should I name change the name. And I don't think I could really separate myself from them because I think the heart and soul is still very much rooted in Pokemon.
Great.
But it's sort of the sort of suffix kind of became a collection of things, not just Pokemon, but a collection of the culture that I like. I sort of experience, or the food that I like to enjoy, or the music that I like to listen to, that kind of thing. It sort of becomes a collection of culture overall. So I guess it kind of worked in that way where I kind of dabbled in the different things that I really enjoyed, and sort of if people loved it they did, if they didn't there's still something for everyone. But it kind of followed, it's sort of like a an online directory of my I guess stream of consciousness. I think it's more like this is what I like, this is what I do, if you want to join me feel free to, and just kind of go with the flow really.
It's interesting, mate, because I feel like I'm kind of heading in that similar direction already. It's only been just over a year, and I think I began by trying to follow a few of the trends, like pack openings and that sort of thing. But then I thought, well,
Mm,
it it's fun and it's good, but everybody else does it. Why not just kind of share a little bit about myself? And so, what I do
yeah,
with my little pack openings now is, if I'm out and about, for example, even going to a shopping mall because it's over here in Turkey, I'll
yeah,
video it and just kind of show people what it's like to live in Turkey. Even like the other day, I went to the barber and got a bit of a shave. So I got my
yeah.
daughter to video it, and it's a really horrible video, but it's fun. It's
Yeah,
like, why not show people what the person's like behind the channel as well? And I think it's a lot of fun to
yeah,
do that.
yeah, totally, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wanted to ask as well, and obviously as a smaller, shorter lived channel in many ways. You've been doing this for 16 years, and you talked about the ebbs and flows. Were
Mm,
there any points where you wanted to just kind of go, you know what, that's enough. I've had my time, and I'm just going to move on to something else? And
yeah,
how did you end up pushing through that as well, I guess?
yeah. I think many times,
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I think there's been many times where I thought, I think I kind of even thought I wouldn't really go this long. To be honest, I think even now, memories keep popping up every time around this time where June 17th being the sort of birth of the channel, and around that time there's always commemoration events. So just the other day, I just saw things come up from the fifth birthday, and I'm just like just sort of like what for me it's really surreal to be still here doing it. And but I think, and that's great where I am now, and it's a great place to be. But I think I'll be lying to everyone if I said that I wasn't thinking about sort of giving up the channel here and there, because there are low moments, there are moments which are tough, when life and other things sort of and other priorities impact your sort of priorities sort of really shift,
Hmm.
right? So you kind of find you sort of have to navigate the changes in your life in accordance with that, and what the reasons are for you to actually be doing what you're doing. So for me, it was always a question of, am I enjoying it? Is it useful to me in some way? And when I say that, it's not monetary gain,
I get
because
it.
the one thing for me, and I remind this to a lot of people, because there's a lot of people, creators that come in now, and it's totally fair. There's a different expectation. There's a massive shift in what I sort of grew up with to what people are now sort of coming into with the expectations, right? But like I said before, YouTube partnership wasn't a thing. Monetization was not a thing.
Hmm.
Sponsorships or influencers wasn't even a term at that time. So it was always a content creation exercise. It was, for the joy of the content that you want to create, whatever that might be. So for me, I kind of always, I'm lucky to have been here and continue to do it for 16 years, and I've seen shifts in the industry, in the content creator space, the other people that sort of come and even surpassed, if you're looking at analytics or insights, surpassed me by far, and that's fantastic for them. The content that they do resonate with probably more mass appeal than boring old me. But I think but I say that in full support of everybody's uniqueness when they, in terms of what they create. But for me, there are moments where you start to question, hang on, am I looking at the numbers? Am I looking at enjoyment? What am I looking at here that's keeping me doing this? And there's been many times where I thought, is this taking up too much of my time, too much of my money? And a lot of the time I do spend my own money. What's the value for me just in the general sense? And I guess the thing that keeps bringing me back, like I said, is community. There's a massive community of
Definitely.
a massive dedicated community that created around me. People who like me just like to talk, casually as if we're friends. I see people out there, and I always got uncomfortable with people talking to me as if they're fans and stuff. Because even if they might be, I don't really. I find that kind of weirdly uncomfortable sometimes, because for me it kind of puts you on this pedestal which I don't really want to be on. I
I
think for
get it.
me it's more like, it's more like, for me, I want to just kind of chat and be nerdy and just talk about all the things that kind of make you silly and all that kind of stuff. So I think for me, I think this became an essential escape. And I think where I made peace with Poker Collection being part of my life was that if it wasn't there, that there would be quite a big void. Because if I think about it, I started when I was 20, 36 now. And my entire decade, my entire 20s were spent
That's awesome.
growing this channel and working on this alongside my career at the same time, and studies as well. If I took that part of what reference, a really bad reference, I think it's probably not the greatest reference, but if anybody's watched Harry Potter, you think about how bloody Lord Voldemort had things like Horcruxes, and he kind of ripped part of his soul. Not in, I don't mean it in an evil way. That's not what I personally align with, but it's sort of like that. It takes a piece of you away. So I think for me, it always became a question of, how do I fit it within my life in that point in time? And there's been, like you said, ebbs and flows. And there was a part of my life, a decade, where it was fully all consuming, and then I had to change tact for my well-being, and also my family and my priorities. And
Mhm.
so what the cost of that was potential viewership, lack of consistency, just a change in everything. But I think it was kind of what was needed to kind of recalibrate what Poker Collection is now, and that's really just what's sustainable now for me. And so people don't necessarily expect there to be something every single day. There might be seasonal sort of content, as opposed to every single day or every few weeks. And I think what's happened is, and I've noticed now, is that the viewership is kind of growing again, in the sense that people coming in now understand what it is now, compared that without comparing it to what it was then. So I think, long-winded question, sort of answer to the question. I think for me, I think what kept me going is just, it's rooted in making sure it stays fun, that it stays an escape.
Great.
It doesn't become a tedious, you know, boring exercise. Something that kind of makes me joyful. I know, in a cheesy sense, I think, and something that works with my life as it is now. Having a kid, a family, and also a senior career as well. So it's just a lot of things to juggle. So it's just one of those things that I think always come into question. But I think that's kind of what's kept me going, and I think what will probably allow me to continue going, because it continues to be a bit of an escape.
That's
Sorry,
great,
talk
mate.
to
No, 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 no. You can talk for as long as you like. I think also one thing that I've noticed, and you must probably have this happen to you even more over 16 years, is the fact that I think without the channel, there are a lot of opportunities that you wouldn't get. And for one for mine that I was blown away with your channel was all of the voice actors that you've been able to
yeah,
to
yeah,
meet and interview and that sort of thing. And for example, for the Pokemon fans who might not follow his channel yet, like the interviews like with Veronica Taylor, I showed it to my daughter, and we've started watching the first two series of Pokemon on Netflix. And when I
yeah,
showed her the voice, we were both blown away. We're like, "Oh my goodness, look at this guy! Wow, what is this?" Do you have
Yeah,
any stories around those moments or
yeah.
anything that you really
Firstly,
remember?
isn't yeah, totally. Isn't she lovely though? Veronica is just
She's
such a
great. Yeah, it seems
wonderful,
like it.
wonderful human being. She's honestly heart of gold. And but I mean, I don't even know if you can put bias aside, but I just think of the one person that I got to meet, which is a childhood hero for me personally. I think it's surreal that I even got the opportunity to meet her and interview her. And I remember the first time it was at Armageddon Expo here in it was in Wellington, I think 2015.
Mhm.
And so 10 years ago now was when I first met her. And I think that was the only time I've ever interviewed someone. And this is not to insult any other interviews I've had in the past,
Sure.
but the one that had a very personal impact that I was actually worried it wouldn't go very well because of the reason that I may not be able to continue in some way. Because she had such a profound impact on my childhood, she was the voice of many people's childhoods, yourself
Definitely.
most likely, and now your daughter. But I think for me, it was her voice came at a time where tragedy hit our family, and so I think her voice became kind of a very comfortable escape from that kind of reality I was facing. So it was very kind of an emotional kind of really trying to get through that interview at the time. But I remember how wonderful, and she is, she continues to be such a wonderful, lovely person, and her daughter Irina, lovely, lovely people. And I think it just kind of built on we sort of built a relationship, like a friendship out of that, which if you had told me years ago that that would be happening, if you told my childhood self that I'd eventually sort of come to know and befriend a childhood hero, I would just be thinking you're having a laugh. And here I am now having, last year we went to dinner with her. We went out after Armageddon Expo and just talked life and things, and she got to meet our kiddo as well. He was just 1.5, and it's just kind of a weird reality, that
Yeah.
I with that. But I just remember having that first interview, and then suddenly, we kept in touch from then on. And she's just a lovely human being overall. She's got a heart of gold. She's got great morals, and she's just such a wonderful person. Honestly, like and hearing her voice as well when she does it, it's just incredible. And she's so great with so many people as well.
Mhm.
But it has led me to also interview many other great people as well. And it's just been a great privilege to be in a position where I can be trusted to talk to these amazing people and talented people who are just such massive. They've had massive impacts on many of us in our childhoods, really.
Yeah, I guess you can try and plan for a whole bunch of stuff for your channel, but it's kind of the stuff that you don't expect to happen, which are the
Mm,
most fun. At least that's what I felt like. Being able to make new friends in the card space has definitely been number one in terms of the benefits
yeah,
that come out of opening a YouTube channel. So obviously, definitely for those people who are inspiring YouTube channel people, if you want to get started, just give it a go. Like, and I think you
mm,
even messaged me at the beginning. You're like, the first couple of videos that I made, I really cringe when I watch them. But
yeah.
and
Oh
I did
God,
the same thing with mine. It's like, oh, what is that? Oh, that's
yeah. I
terrible.
cannot. I just don't. I can't. I remember something coming up the other day, and I just thought, oh my God, what? How am I speaking? I think there was. It was. I was watching something last night because I was just doing some stuff, and a video came up, and it was just kind of horrible. I can't describe. It was just I was not. I've always known to mumble quite a lot. I get a lot of flack from my family and friends
Uh-huh.
for mumbling a lot, and I'm like, that is the epitome of mumbling. And I don't know what happened in that process, but now they call it the BBC accent because they, developed a sort of way of talking, which is normal to me, but it's slightly a heightened version of how I speak, just so I can enunciate and get my points across. But yeah, it's just one of those things. You look back on your own content, right? And you obviously feel the same. It's just hard to. I really just put everything online and then forget about it. And that's kind of what I do. All I really go into is then just commenting on people's reactions and stuff. So I don't really hear myself again. It's really gone into the sort of void, and it's done its job. People go watch it, and I just forget about it from then on. I don't think I could ever watch full videos again. Although I think potentially there could be a segment in the future where I do react to old videos of mine, and I think
It
it'll
could be
just be an
fun.
absolute cringe fest. So I would just probably be embarrassed and sweating, and yeah, just cringe over those.
I totally get it, mate. I remember the very first couple of videos, we weren't really anticipating on making a YouTube channel.
No,
Actually, it was more going to be for Spotify. So this will be turned into an audio and put up on Spotify for
nice,
people who like to listen to stuff. And I do. I love
nice.
listening to podcasts. So it was initially supposed to be a podcast, and the YouTube channel was just an afterthought. And I remember for all of our initial podcasts, we had done video recordings like this just to get the audio. And just watching those are just ultra cringy. You're like, oh, that's
It's so funny though, isn't it? Yeah, but it's weird because it's definitely allowed me to, and I'm sure you as well. So you build your voice as you go,
100%. 100%.
and you just it's sort of like repetition, right? It's just kind of relearning how you go about things, and yeah, you just kind of carry on doing it, and it just becomes better and better, really.
I agree. And I think it's definitely helped me with trying to express myself and just having the patience to express myself properly, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So often
100%.
I'll be just throwing in words, some ums and some ahs here and there. And I still do it, and that's normal and natural. But I think now I have a little bit more confidence in being able to pause and just
Yeah.
being able to organize my thoughts in my head before I say them, if that makes any sense to you at
It
all.
does.
Maybe it
I,
doesn't.
I'm notorious for umming and eyeing way too much. In fact, there was I think one point where I think in our end of year greatest hit sort of video, I just compiled a lot of ums together, uh, because it's horribly. That's very. I still do it now. I don't know why, but I just kind of don't. I think because I'm lazy, I just leave it in. I don't bother editing it out. I think it's just one of those things where I just try to be as real as possible. But I know
Mhm.
what you mean. Sometimes you kind of take a moment to think and pause. Uh, Everyone's different, I guess, the way they do it, and I think that's the beauty of content creation. But I
Definitely.
totally get it. I think that umming and ahhing, especially in my case, I think I'm always doing that. It's one of those things that I think just stuck with me, really.
Yeah, great, mate. So it's fun to talk about this with someone who's got a whole bunch more experience. Let's talk a little bit about like the heart of your channel, I guess, which
Mhm.
is Pokemon. I have a couple of
Yeah,
Pokemon questions and some Pokemon card questions, I guess.
yeah.
Who are your favorite Pokemon characters, first of all?
Pokemon characters. Oh gosh, this is so hard to answer that question. But I think the ones I default to straight away, and most people who watch my channel will get it right away and will probably roll their eyes. Is Gyarados is a big one.
All right. Yeah.
Gyarados is a huge one. Magikarp by association.
Hmm.
Spinder, and Spinder is a very much. I think at this point, because it's been 16 years, I think people are starting to not understand why. Actually, I had a comment the other day wondering what people were like. Why have you got so many Spinders? What's happening? And I'm like, oh boy, you have yet to understand the lore of poker collection. You know, there's a deep origin story in this situation. Spinner is a funny and very weird one, but that was actually created it came about as a result of my audience and the video that I created where I pulled three rare Spinders in a row. They were all non-holographic cards, all rare as part of the Platinum Supreme Victors expansion. And it was kind of like considered a dud rare because it was just nothing exciting about it. And because I did it in a row, people said, "What are the chances of having that happen?" And then it became a mascot of the channel. So Spinder, I grew to love very dearly. So those would be the top two. But I think other ones would be just Ghost Pokemon in general, so the Gengar line,
Hmm.
uh, Darkrai, that kind of stuff. So yeah, what about you?
Uh, for me, I definitely like who do I like? I love Gengar. I'm just trying to. It's hard to kind of limit it to a few, like because your
Gosh, there's
mood and
thousands now.
your yeah, it's right, and your feel can change for them. And even in the
Yeah,
back, I see your Snorlax here, and I'm like, man, I do like
yeah,
Snorlax as well.
I love
And
Snorlax.
yeah,
Really,
and even a Mimikyu as well. There's just a whole
Mimic,
bunch,
yeah,
and it just
yeah,
depends the day of the week. You can ask me, but
yeah.
my daughter and I love it. I think the card that I like the most recently, at least, was from, and I've been trying to get it. I've been trying to pack pull it, but I couldn't. Obviously, from Shrouded Fable was that Persian card, and so I just ended
Oh
up
yeah,
buying it. I love it. I think it's a great
oh
looking
yeah.
card. So that's my I guess
Nice.
my
Is that
favorite card
the
of the minute, but it changes all the time.
illustration
Yeah,
rare
that's
one?
right. That's right. The one
Nice.
where you can kind of see its
Okay.
reflection in the glass in
Yeah.
front of it. It's very cool.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
cool.
my thoughts and feelings about Pokemon characters really change
Too many.
quite often.
And if you ask me if what card, then it's just an absolute like I cannot. There's literally no card that I can potentially pinpoint because it just becomes a downward spiral into
Mhm.
figuring that one out. Yeah,
Any
can't.
particular cards, like for example, right now that just pop into your mind, like I really like that card. So I probably have
Uh,
three that I like at the moment. So
the
it's
moment,
that
right.
Persian. I really like the Poliwhirl from 151, and I love the Psyduck from 151 as well. I think
Nice.
those three are my favorite
That's
for
super
right now.
cool.
Yeah.
I am. I've been kind of. There's been a bit of a hiatus lately. So in terms of recent cards, I've kind of left them to when I open them. Eventually, hopefully, I'll get to see
Sure,
them in
sure.
person. But in terms of the ones that have always stuck in my memory, I love that Gengar Mimikyu, I think, card from Team Up from the Sun and Moon series. I think it was. It was a team up set. It was a base one, and it was drawn by Mitsuhiro Arita. The
Okay.
like he's such an OG in the game, and I'll probably butchered his name. Apologies, but that card was just stunning, and also the pack artwork, the booster pack artwork was stunning. I really want that on my wall somewhere if I can get hold of it. And then I think there's some Gyarados cards from Gym Heroes. I think Misty's Gyarados was one of them. Stunning card.
Yeah.
And then Fossil Aerodactyl was one of my favorites of all time as well. But yeah, oldies but goodies.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Well, see, I've only just started in the Pokemon card collecting scene in the last year, so
Nice.
all of my stuff is
Oh,
very
cool.
recent, you know.
Oh, very
So
cool.
it's
Nice.
yeah, so all those new Misty cards, like the Misty's Lapras, and I think
Yeah.
it's Misty's Psyduck as well. They're very cool cards too, and I think they're from Distant Rivals, right? I really
Yeah,
like those
and I've
as
yet to
well.
open it. I'm really looking forward to. I've actually got some stock finally, so I'm really
Great.
looking forward to. I've been particularly looking forward to these cards because Gyarados is obviously in the set. So yeah, can't wait to hopefully pull that card.
Yeah,
Cool.
awesome. So coming up, and the episode will release the week before the Auckland Card Show, but coming up
Yeah,
is the Auckland Card Show. What have you? What I know that you have a few plans for the card show.
yeah,
I just talked to Steve very recently about
yeah,
that as well. So, what are you most looking forward to in the Auckland Card Show this year?
yeah. Well, I guess one of the best things about this show is that I'll be able to be on stage and co-MC alongside Steve. So it'll be both of us, and we'll be leading the show and leading people through the show as we get through the couple of days. Bigger and better than ever. I think one of the best things will be able to be there on stage to really kind of catch people's joy and enthusiasm. I think last year when I was on stage as well, I think there was just an itch that I needed to scratch there. And I think once I was there on stage, I just realized how much I missed being there and really kind of interacting with people there in
Mhm.
real time. So I'm really looking forward to the show this year and really kind of getting stuck in. But of course, I can't wait to sort of have time to wander around the halls to see what kind of cool collectibles are there. I think I haven't seen. It feels like I haven't opened or seen cards very recently. So I'm really itching to kind of see all of that around there. Really, just kind of getting amongst the people and just really enjoying time there. I think it's one of those things where I think cards have just been such a huge part of my life that I think it's such a nice comfort. And so when other people share the joy, it's just really just an awesome feeling all around. So yeah, looking forward to
There's
that.
going to be there's going to be a few content creators from New Zealand and a few panels I saw. I just saw one
Yeah.
this morning that popped up. Like there's going to be
Mm.
like with Mr. Tofu. I don't know if you watch any of his stuff. He's
Yeah, dude,
hilarious. He makes these
he's
great
fantastic.
short videos. He's fantastic.
So
So
good,
it'll be
and
fun to
he's
get
one of
in
the,
person.
he's such a funny guy. He's so down to earth. I've actually not met him personally, but I have talked to him. I think in some streams here and there. So looking forward to actually meeting him in person, actually catching up. But he's fantastic. I love that he sort of jumps on some trends and kind of creates these little sort of mini skits, which is a
They're
lovely way
great.
to
They're
just kind of
great.
so
They really
humorous.
are fun.
Yeah, so chill. He's such a nice guy, though. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. It's going to be an awesome box opening. I think they're going to be opening Evolving Skies. I think, from what I read,
Oh wow,
which is
really?
going to be a pretty.
That's
Even I haven't opened too much of that, so that's a pretty big one. So unless I've read it wrong, so we'll see. But it should be quite. I think it should be cracker. I think some really good creators on the stage there.
yeah, great. What have you got planned for the near future with your channel and moving forward? Anything that you want to share with us?
Yeah, sure. I think obviously this year celebrates 16 years. Typically, in true poker collection fashion or tradition, we sort of host a sort of celebration or series of celebrations every year. This year, it's been pushed back quite significantly because of many life changes, career changes, and of course, lots of events and things going on. So I'm not sure when I'll be celebrating that one because I think by the time I do, it'll be 17. But there'll be tons of openings. Obviously, now that I'm moved into our new home, I'm starting to actually, at this point, sort of getting that itch again and really kind of getting stuck into the joy of everything again because I now can actually spend time doing it. So there'll definitely be a return to live streaming, which will be really cool, which is a mix of sort of gaming as well as card openings and just chat. Just really all round good stuff. So there'll be a return to that, some more content, and hopefully some more festivities and some giveaways and things that I typically do. So you never know. There'll be tons of stuff coming everyone's way. So we'll see how it goes and rolls out.
Just to close, are there any pieces of advice that you could give budding YouTube channelers, if whether they're Pokemon or not? Just anything from a person who's been doing it for so long. And obviously, I'm going to be taking
Yeah,
this advice on myself too. But any
yeah,
advice that you have for people who want to start YouTube channel or content creation?
yeah, sure. I get asked this question quite a lot, and I think
Sure.
it sort of comes back to asking yourself what you want to do this for, how you want to do it. So, when it comes to what you want to do it for, is it for popularity? Is it for money? Is it for joy? Is it for what is it? Is it an escape? I think that's kind of when you really sort of understand how committed you want to be to it.
Hmm.
For me, like I said, it was something that I didn't plan. There was no strategy. It still is very random. There is a bit of planning with some things, but in the most part, it's just free for all. God knows what's going to happen next, and a lot of the time, it's a train wreck. Who knows? It's very improv. But I think what people need to remember is that if they're doing it for the hustle, for the money, they can quickly burn out. And I think
Yeah.
that's where I've questioned myself. Am I starting to lose myself in the situation? Am I starting to look more at analytics and insights and monetary gain over what the fundamentals of what this channel was? Am I not? Am I being true to myself? Am I being disingenuous? Am I putting on a persona that's not real to me? Because that will get exhausting and also contribute to burnout, right? So I
For
think
sure.
if people want to get into it, I think the first question they should be asking why why is it that they want to do it, and then they can assess whether or not it's something that they want to do as a pastime or a full-time thing. I guess the other thing would be how committed they're going to be to it as well, and also not let it sort of take over your life necessarily. Don't bank on it.
Hmm.
um, don't go crazy with purchasing all the high-end equipment and then you realize you don't want to do it. For
That's
me,
right.
I started off with a phone that slid. Sorry, English is gone. But it sort of was like a slider phone, and it was just terrible quality. And I just slowly upgraded as my means were, as I was able to, afford it. And still now, like it looks like a great setup, but this took obviously over a decade of work to get done, and it still could be better. But I still I'm happy with I can deal with it for now. I just would say don't rush into things before you understand what it takes to do it and do it for the right reasons. And you sort of realize why you want to do them. But I think the main thing, and I see it a lot, is burnout is a big deal. Mental health
Yeah.
is a big deal, and your own health and well-being in general. You need to look after it and preserve it, and not forget everything else. And I would always say have a backup plan. If you're working through your career, don't give up your career. You need a fallback.
Definitely.
Make sure you have got some stability there, and so you can support it. And maybe in the future you might want to give up everything and you can do it full time. And that's a great thing for you if you're in that position. But just just I guess tread carefully as well, because I think everyone wants to be a content creator these days, whereas previously people didn't even know what it was or what social media was. What is
Yeah.
this situation? So I think have high hopes, have dreams, make sure that you always aim high, but also be realistic about it without being too pessimistic as well, because you want to, it takes a sustained and sustainable approach as well to get where you want to be. So I think that would be probably my advice. And it sounds really generic and vague and maybe a bit cheesy, but I think you have to be able to enjoy it to be able to sustain it. If you don't, if you're forcing it, it'll show up. And I think that's what people will see as well. So definitely do it for what's true to you, and that will sort of go out to other people as well.
I agree. I think also it's important to understand that it is tough. It's tough to create really quality content again and again and again. And a lot of the things that you do for your channel, it's probably going to go unseen by a lot of the people that watch. So you could spend hours and hours on a video, and then
Mm,
you make a slight mistake and you put it in the video, and people are like, well, what about this mistake you made? I'm like, man, I just
mm,
spent a buttload of
mm.
hours on that. And so
Yeah,
sometimes it's really hard not to take that kind of criticism personal,
it's
and it might
hard.
just be a
Yeah,
throwaway message too. So
and I
I think
think
that's
that's
the main thing.
that's a great point. And I think that's the other thing as well is criticism. It's so easy for people to criticize when they're sort of watching, right?
Yeah.
I've learned to become very comfortable in myself over the years. Obviously, confidence gets sort of better, I guess, with growth and whatnot. But yeah, you're totally right. Don't let that get to you, because I think that could also derail your progress as well. And if you always, I've seen a lot of advice where people say you have to do what the people want, and I agree to degree. If they want to see certain things, then you might want to consider it. But at the same time, I'm of the belief that the people that want to watch you for who you are will gravitate to you. And maybe that's probably why I haven't grown as much as I could have, because I've not really bothered to hustle or really follow or be. I'm not desperate enough to really go so crazy that I want to build followings like that. I've met a lot of people that may want to do that, and I think sometimes it's just not healthy. It's not good for yourself, because you're sort of forcing it. You have to be quite natural with it. So I think really just kind of, when it comes to criticisms, just kind of take it on the chin, and it's not the end of the world. That person wasn't your viewer, or that person wasn't the right target market. Think about it from a marketing perspective. That person wasn't the ideal audience for it, and that's fine. That's You're going to have that. You're going to have people that differ to your own opinions. But it's hard. It does suck. I'm not going to lie. You're human at the end of the day. You hear something, and it sucks. But
Yeah, I get it,
just
mate. I
gotta,
get it.
you just gotta laugh sometimes, and you'll be like, well, move on. We'll move on. It'll be all good.
Or you could
People,
just take the criticisms and go, yeah, that was a mistake. That wasn't my best work. It is what it
yeah,
is, and you learn from it too. So I
yeah, and
think
take it
sometimes criticism
constructively.
is good. Yeah.
Take it constructively for sure. Absolutely, I think it's always a great way to go into new content and take on board feedback, but also who you are as well, so you can be resilient and also kind of be quite confident in what you want to, or defiant in what you want to do as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your point about burnout on top of that. It's like if
Yeah,
you're not enjoying the process itself, then
yeah,
maybe content creation isn't for you, because there's a lot of behind the scenes work that go into making videos, whether it's your voiceovers or putting music in the
mm,
background or editing like a whole bunch of videos to put them all together to tell a nice story. It's not easy. It takes
no,
a
it's
lot of
not.
hours. And like you
It's
say,
really
like
not
there's
fun.
that work-life balance as well, where you got your day job, you have your family. Am I spending too much time on making
Mhm,
these videos rather than spending time with my daughter? Those
mm.
sorts of questions do come up. I
It's a
just
real
love doing it. It's fun, and I
Yeah,
think that's
totally, and I
important.
can see that. It's great, and I think like I said, it's a real juggle. Um, but yeah, it just has to come down to enjoying it, and sometimes you can bring your family into enjoying it. I've done the same.
Definitely.
My kid's too young for it at the moment, but he might not, and if he doesn't, that's all good. I'm not going to sort of force him into it, but I think there's a shared joy in being able to escape to it here and there, and it's perfect. You're allowed it, but you need to find that time for yourself to be able to do it, and in a way that's guilt free,
Yeah.
where it feels good to do it, because I think it translates. And I can tell you, that I've done content or even live streams in the past where I wasn't 100%, and
Mhm.
it's noticeable. And that's not it doesn't I guess it doesn't matter how people necessarily feel. I think you realize that actually you're doing that to yourself, and you're not feeling good, and that's actually detrimental to you as well. So it's less about others, and more just about kind of thinking about you and making sure that you're well and you're doing it for yourself, and it's bringing those endorphins and creating that sort of joy. I think in this day and age, as I grow older, I think the less stress obviously anybody wants to have. There's already enough of it in the world, and I think if there's anything that is nice to do, is escape to something so innocent, playful, and just simple and straightforward, without the need for all the other craziness in it. We just want to enjoy it.
Mate, that was some really candid, very honest advice there. I really appreciate that, and I
No,
also appreciate your time to come onto the channel and just share a bit of your story. It's been awesome.
no, thank you, and I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it. It's great.
All right. Anything to say before we go, or I think we can leave it
No,
there.
well, I guess we covered. I mean, yeah, most of it. I mean, if there's anything else that you wanted to ask me, but thank you for having me, and all the best with your channel.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
continue to enjoy what you're doing, and looking forward to seeing more of your interviews come out. It's really great to see. You're sort of capturing other people sort of in the hobby, and yeah, keep it up, and I look forward to it.
Thanks, buddy, and hopefully we can catch up again soon. Maybe after the Auckland Card Show or something like that. We'll
Yeah,
figure
totally,
something else out
absolutely.
too.
Yeah,
Perfect.
anytime. Sounds good.
All right. Great. All right. See you soon.
Cool. Take care.
Bye.
See you later.